save percentage amongst the top goalies in the NLL and in the conversation at about the midway point in terms of goalie of the year. And it will be Jordan McIntosh on the draw to start this one against Bob Snyder, the veteran who has been splitting face-off duties with Tyler Burton. And it looks like the first possession will indeed come to the Georgia Swarm, as they will come down to the Calgary end of the floor here, looking to get an early start on a team that has had bad starts when it comes to the Roughnecks. McIntosh will pass off, gives it to Matisse. Now Matisse looks around at his options, has a man off the bench and delivers the ball to him, and now they're going to work it from the far side. Now into the hands of Lyle Thompson. Thompson with a bit of a step. Thompson, backhand pass, doesn't go anywhere except into the corner, where Harnett picks it up for the Roughnecks. John Harnett now will cross over center as the Roughnecks will get their first possession. And certainly what this team could use is an early lead. They've been not getting many of those. Curtis Dixon now with the ball. Dixon to Digby now. Digby swings it across to Doby. Doby now back over to the other side. There's a pass into the hands of Schattler. Schattler comes to Berg. Berg holds, looking for an opening, looking for a lane, shoots, and Poulin comes out to challenge that shot and makes the save.
Nice, good first possession from the Roughnecks there, going east-west quite a bit, something they haven't done much of this season so far, trying to get Poulin moving side to side.
Lyle Thompson passes off, and now again they come to the far side. Back over to the near side to Thompson. Lyle takes a shot, that deflects, and into the corner. That'll be Calgary possession.
Georgia forcing a couple quick opportunities there as far as the shot clock is considered, trying to get out and get one in behind Frank Chiliano.
Westberg down low to Tyler Digby out of the corner. Digby now takes a whack, takes a stick up in the head area. Now here's Cotoni. Cotoni comes back to the super sophomore Berg. Berg driving to the net, takes the shot and scores! Westberg puts his head down and gets Calgary on the board. 1-0 Roughnecks.
Different look from the Roughnecks there as Curtis Dixon was over on the left side, keeping Mike Poulin's attention a little bit as a quick stick opportunity, which allowed Berg to penetrate the defense, slip past his man, go around, and get one past Poulin to make it a 1-0 game here for the Calgary Roughnecks.
Westberg's 15th of the season gives Calgary that 1-0 lead, and Bob Snyder wins the faceoff all the way back to Frank Chiliano, who will play it to Dan McRae. And part of what we've been seeing on home floor Calgary is the fans here being taken out of the game early. If the Roughnecks can get the 10,000 or so faithful into this one, that'll help their cause too. Now Berg to Doby. Doby now, nice pass here. Schattler, and a big save by Mike Poulin as he robs his ex-teammate.
Yeah, you can see the Roughnecks going low early on Mike Poulin. 5-hole was a favored target amongst the opposition here when Poulin was playing his trade for the next.
Now Matisse thought about driving to the net and turned aside. He curls back to the line and now passes off. Powless up high to Miles Thompson. Thompson to Matisse. That's off a body and into the net. Possession. Matisse will start off with a fresh 30. He goes up high. And now Matisse eventually gets the ball back. Has it now. Comes to the man behind the net. That's Thompson putting a shot on net. Miles. Save made by Chiliano. And now here's Cummings in transition. Chad Cummings now. Bit of a step. Turned aside rather. So he comes to Cotoni. Cotoni plays it over to Dixon. Dixon now to Berg with the goal in this one so far. Berg again drives the net behind the back shot. Went into the corner. Actually, I think Poulin got a piece of that one. So a fresh 30 for the Roughnecks here, leading 1-0. Just under 12 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Now Dixon tries his luck, spins, fires, puts it wide of the post, comes to Lowen. He takes a shot off the bar. Riley Lowen finds the post, comes all the way back to Chiliano, but the Roughnecks will get another chance here.
Yeah, you can see very quickly the Roughnecks trying to put a lot of rubber on Poulin early.
Now here's Cotoni, a shot and scores. Holden Cotoni back in the lineup tonight and on the scorecard. 2-0 Calgary.
Well, the Calgary Roughnecks did not come back last night. They came back this morning from that game in Colorado and got a quick nap, came back to the Dome. You got to wonder if the sting of last night's game has not got them feeling like they need to get out to a quick start. like they need to erase the memory of what happened just last night. They haven't had a week to mull it over. They haven't had time. They've got in and they've got going here with a 2-0 lead and outshooting the Swarm to this point by a 6-1 margin.
Well, an interesting comparison between these two teams. You've got the Roughnecks, who played, of course, last weekend and last night. The Swarm didn't play last night, nor did they play a week ago. So you've got a team that has been playing a lot against a team maybe with a little bit of rust. Here's Katoni again, and this time save made by Poulin. But the Roughnecks traditionally the last few years have actually been very good on the back end of back-to-back nights, and sometimes that allows you in a where you don't have a lot of practice time in this league to get some of that chemistry going. And so far early in this one, the Roughnecks have that. Now the Swarm get their first good look on Chiliano, makes the save, and now sends it down the floor. Here's Dixon, a breakaway. Dixon in, takes the shot, and Poulin makes the save somehow, twisting and turning and pirouetting, but he keeps it out.
What a stop from Mike Poulin on Curtis Dixon after the laser pass from Frank Chiliano. A tough take for Dixon, but he gets it done, and Poulin equal to the task on the other side.
There's a blocker save made by Chiliano off the long shot, and then the pass to Thompson doesn't work. Eventually, it comes back to Shane Jackson, who gives it off to Jerome Thompson off the bench, and now they work it from that far side. There's a nice move to the net, but the ball doesn't come with him. That was Jordan Hall trying his luck. Had a couple of nice moves, and now a penalty upcoming to the Swarm. Scott Carnegie will run it over center. Calgary puts Chiliano on the bench, and will work it 6-on-5. Dobie directing traffic now, looks up and sees 14 to shoot. Passes to Berg. Berg now with a bit of a step. Quick stick for Shatler, scores! Berg to Shatler, 3-0 Calgary.
While the passing east-west has certainly been working here early, Jeff Shatler right on top of the crease, finally getting that quick stick goal. They've been working this play for weeks, and Shatler right at the right place at the right time, dives in, dunks it home, past Poulin, making a 3-0 lead. Coach is watching this one closely to see if maybe Shatler landed before the ball rolled in, but no challenge flag appears to be coming, and as a result, no penalty either, as the Calgary Roughnecks take the 3-0 lead with that 6-on-5 advantage.
Well, and this is the ball movement we haven't been seeing offensively for the last few weeks, Ryan. That type of passing just has not been happening for the Roughnecks, but so far they are on it offensively here at Scotiabank Saddledome. Now here's Lowen with it. Lowen tries to escape a check, gets the room, takes the shot, scores! Riley Lowen gets in the action, it's 4-0.
Wow, well, the Roughnecks, as you mentioned, have been taking a long time to get things going. They had 4 quarters last night to get the offensive chemistry, and it looks like it is carried over here tonight into the Roughhouse. 4 goals on 9 shots on one of the best goaltenders in the National Lacrosse League. Riley Lowen puts the Roughnecks up by 4 here early with still 9:19 to go in the first quarter.
This is exactly what the doctor ordered when it comes to the Calgary Roughnecks. They lead Georgia 4-0. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com.
All of the highlights.
Game is brought to you in part by Sports Interaction, Canada's home for worldwide sports betting. Bet responsibly at sportsinteraction.com. Disclaimer, only residents of Canada may open an account with Sports Interaction. The service is not available to users outside of Canada.
It was the Curtis Dixon show last weekend. Saskatchewan did a good job of holding Dixon off the score sheet when it came to goals. And they need other guys to pick up the slack, and a couple youngsters, Lowen and Katoni, doing that tonight so far. Yeah, Dixon didn't get his first of the game until it was well in hand last night in Colorado either. And you're right, it's very much about secondary scoring and seeing who else can add one here for the Roughnecks. Now the Swarm with numbers, but the pass attempt does not work. That was Jason Noble who whiffed on the pass. And now Dane Dobie comes back the other way, falls but bounces it to Katoni. Oh, he had a man breaking down low. That was Dixon. Katoni gets it back, and Poulin got a toe on it to rob the youngster. Boy, holding Katoni down personally, it seems, coming out firing here. 1 goal, 3 shots already for the rookie. Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes that's what you need, is be able to watch the game from a different point of view to see what you're doing and what you're not doing. But nonetheless, there's a shot coming from Jackson. Tough angle, no problem for Chiliano. Up quickly, he's got John Harnett. Tough take, but he reels it in. Harnett well defended, so he's going to pull up and just allow the offense to get on the floor. Shatler climbs the ladder to prevent that one from going over and back, and now steps over the restraining line into the zone. Shatler now up to Digby. Digby now finds Westberg. Oh, pass down low, but Lowen didn't have his stick, and that's why there's a penalty coming to the Swarm. So 6-on-5 again for the Roughnecks. Shatler just puts it on net, and the Roughnecks save it here. And now that gives Chiliano a chance to get to the bench. So now it's 6-on-5 for the Roughnecks. And they did score the last time they had this opportunity. Some confusion as Berg basically sends Katoni back to the bench so Dane Dobie can get out there. When it's your all-time leading goal scorer for a franchise, not a bad idea. There's a shot wide and into the netting, and now we will get the call against Georgia. I don't know what they'll call it, but obviously Lowen had the lumber hacked out of his hands, I would say. Yeah, I think it might be a slashing call here. Holding the stick, which would be a sensible one to call as well. It's Lyle Thompson getting it. And then dropping the stick on the floor. Yep, that'll do it. The power play for the Calgary Roughnecks on the season, 54.5%. Special teams for Georgia have been good on both ends. The PK, 56%. So tough work here for the Roughnecks. There's a shot, scores! Right on cue, I suppose. Dane Dobie makes it 5-0 Calgary. Boy, there was not a lot of room over the shoulder of Mike Poulin there. But Dane Dobie, as you mentioned, the franchise's all-time leading scorer, or all-time leading goal scorer, that is, just finds a little bit of a hole over the top of Mike Poulin and puts it home. 5-0 Roughnecks, out shooting them 12-5. Looks like they came to play tonight against the league's #1 team. Well, and this is what teams have been doing against the Roughnecks, really. The Swarm just haven't had much offensive possession, and part of the reason why is Bob Snyder is dominating the dot so far. You got to get the offense on the floor so they can establish something if you're the Swarm, and right now, Calgary's wearing down that defense. And again, it's a bit of a tables turn scenario because this is what we've seen happen to the Roughnecks several times in the last number of weeks. But tonight, it's all them so far. Still real early, though. 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. Plenty of time for Georgia to get back in this one. Here's Dixon now with a shot trying to go low, hit a body. And now here comes Georgia in transition, looking to take advantage of the numbers. Bouncing off the check, and here's a breakaway. Shot in there, scores! Shane Jackson goes up high to beat Chiliano and get Georgia on the board. Jerome Thompson, pardon me. Go ahead. 22 versus 33, but what a move here from Thompson as he goes flying across the crease and goes back over the shoulder of Frank Chiliano. Nice move there from Jerome Thompson as the second-year man puts it in and gets the Swarm on the board at the 6:44 mark remaining of the first quarter. Well, what a play in transition as the Swarm player absorbed a big hit, just bounced off it, and that's what allowed him to find Jerome Thompson, who has the nice finish on Chiliano. And we'll see now if Georgia can use that to get some momentum back in this one, or if Calgary provides a response. Shatler allows the ball to come to him. Now sends it across to Lowen. Lowen has a goal in this one. Now he passes off to Berg. Berg to Digby. Now here's Doby. Scores! Finds a little bit of room down low on Poulin. And there's that immediate answer. Second of the night for Dane. 6-1 Calgary.
Wow, what a night for the Calgary offense so far. Every time they're down the floor, they're shooting just about 50% right now. As you see Doby cut towards the crease, that one rolls in, and it's going to be close. I see the challenge flag now in the hand of a Swarm coach, but it looks like he's now put it back into his pocket. I don't know that he's going to get the angle he's looking for on the replay there. Ed Como puts it back in his pocket, and
we got a goaltending change here. Brody McDonald is coming in to relieve Mike Poulin. So we'll see if that is just a breather here for Poulin. Here's Bob Snyder off the faceoff, immediately comes down the floor to Dan McRae. And they make a wholesale change. That is what you call a wholesale change.
Yeah, all five guys sprinted to the bench immediately to get the offense on the floor, and the way they're playing, why not?
Absolutely. Now here's a one-handed attempt by Dixon that nearly finds the far post. Now to Shatler. He shoots, and that's wide of the net. And that'll be a 30-second violation, or maybe over and back. It happened at exactly the same time. Won't matter. It'll be Georgia possession here with 5:38 to go here in the first quarter. And the Roughnecks dominating 6-1 the lead here. Pass picked off, and here come the Roughnecks again. It's Curtis Manning in transition. He's got John Harnett with him. Manning to Harnett. Harnett takes the shot, and it hits McDonald up high on the shoulder, makes the save. And now here come the Swarm back the other way. Sellers passes off into the hands of Johnny Powless. Powless rolls it behind the back to Lyle Thompson. Thompson now with a bit of a step. Now passes up high, bit of a tough take there. Oh, nice behind the back pass. And now a delayed penalty coming to the Roughnecks. And as Bell touches it, we'll get that call. And we will get the Swarm power play when we return. Does sound like we do have some technical challenges with the broadcast right now. So if you're experiencing that, we do apologize. We're sorting things out. And we will be back. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com. On the power play makes it 6-2. The Swarm back to within 4.
Yeah, nice goal there, just working that kind of ever collapsing power play, getting closer and closer to the net. Thompson left alone in the top of the slot area as John Harnett tries to get back out there but can't make it in time to prevent Lyle from scoring his 26th of the season.
Yeah, and that power play for Georgia has one of the reasons why they're 7-1, 63%, and now a little bit higher after that goal. So it has been very good so far this 2017 NLL season. Face-off contested, bodies flying everywhere, and it will be the Roughnecks who have a chance to pick it up. Garrett McIntosh falls but scoops it to Dan McRae, and now Calgary will come forward. Brody McDonald still in the net for Georgia here, relieving Mike Poulin after he gave up 5 early in this quarter. Now 4:10 to go and a 6-2 game. And you know the Swarm are not going to go away quietly in this one as there is tons of time. Now here's Lowen. Lowen passes off to Dane Doby. Doby's got a couple already in this one. Now spins off the check behind the back pass. Trying to find Lowen cutting to the net. Was cut off. And now the Swarm will come down the other end of the floor. Jordan McIntosh has it. Steps over center. Captain of the Swarm passes off and gives it to Lyle Thompson, who has that most recent goal. Thompson sends it up high to his brother, and now they'll play it over to the other side. Shane Jackson tries to pass off, can't find his man, and now the Roughnecks were quickly trying to turn it, couldn't. Manning was calling for a breakaway pass, but it was cut off, and now here come the Swarm. There's a shot. Oh, it was deflected and bounces wide of the far post. Now a scramble for it. Thompson picks it up. Lyle has it. Lyle sends it back to the point area to Powless. And now that's Jerome. Now to Lyle. Lyle with a move, takes the shot, trying to find the corner, missed the net. Going to come all the way to the bench area. Saved briefly by Jackson, has to throw to the corner with 2 to shoot. And Calgary will get possession back here on the 32nd violation.
Good defensive possession there for the Roughnecks, keeping everybody a little bit further out, and the best opportunity ends up going wide off the stick of Lyle Thompson.
Now under 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. Calgary back to work offensively. Digby trying to pass down low to Dixon. He was well defended though. And now it will be the Swarm trying to get back to within 3 here as they go back to work offensively. It's Jordan Hall passing off. He has a man off the bench. That's Miles Thompson. Thompson now to Matisse. Matisse now head on a swivel, has Powless off the bench. And now here's Shane Jackson with it. Jackson takes a check. Passes back to Matisse. There's a shot wide of the net and comes into the waiting hands of the Roughnecks defense. And now here's Bell quickly in transition. Bell pulls up, spins off his check. Another spin move, and now he's just going to play it back to Digby at the point area. Bell not afraid to take those chances when they present themselves, but that time he thought better of it. Now Katoni working on a 4-point evening. Gets the return feed, shoots it on net, and McDonald with a big save there. Holden Katoni's feeling it tonight. Best we've seen from that rookie so far this season. Now, Ethan O'Connor will pass off, and he'll head to the bench as Georgia gets their offense on the floor. Here comes a shot, well wide, comes all the way back out the end board, and now into the waiting hands of Manning. Manning now looks up and has a couple defenders ahead of him, so he comes to Berg. Berg's cut off as well. Berg now looking for some space and looking for some help. Hangs on to it and eventually comes to Dane Dobie with 15 to shoot. Shatler now has it near side. Shatler to Katoni. Katoni tried to go back to Shatler or maybe to Digby. No one was there. Digby has to go to the corner with 5 to shoot. Now double team, try to spin off those checks. Tough angle shot, nearly handcuffed McDonald, but nonetheless, Calgary gets the fresh 30.
Yeah, wise play there from Tyler Digby just to get it on net and try and get another opportunity to rebound. Nobody there to pick it up except Dane Dobie. Smart play from number 23.
Now Berg has some room, spins off the check. Now to Dobie, takes the shot. Nice save there by McDonald. And now the Swarm do find that loose ball with 40 seconds to go in the quarter. Goals late in quarters have plagued the Roughnecks at time. We'll see if they have that problem here. There's a bounce shot off the stick of McIntosh off the floor into the netting, and it will be Calgary getting the ball back here with 31.5 to go. So just about a second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. And Chiliano's going to start taking a slow stroll to the bench area. Calgary will try and work it for a final play here. 6-2, they lead this one. They're not going to pull Chiliano. Instead, just hold it for the final shot here. Shatler has it. He takes a peek at the scoreboard. He's 7 to shoot. Now Shatler to the net. Shatler doesn't take the shot. Instead, the other side. Digby shoots and scores. Tyler Digby with 2 seconds on the clock. 7-2 Roughnecks.
Again, you cannot emphasize how important it is to get the ball moving, to pass. The Roughnecks have been very guilty this season of trying to be a one-man offense, not getting your teammates involved. A nice pass here from Jeff Shatler, and Tyler Digby buries it to extend the lead to 7-2, the best Roughnecks quarter that they have had this season.
Number 15 on the season for the big man. And the quarter comes to an end, and what a quarter for the Calgary Roughnecks, 7-2, as they will go to the benches, and we'll see if we can talk briefly to a member of the Calgary Roughnecks. One of the all-time great riggers, Andrew McBride, down on the floor looking to grab someone. And it looks like he's going to talk to the rookie who's enjoyed a real strong start to this game, Holden Katoni. We'll send you down to the floor momentarily for Andrew McBride and Holden Katoni.
It's a former Calgary Roughnecks captain, Andrew McBride. Andrew?
I'm down on the field with rookie forward Holden Katoni, back in the lineup after 2 games, making an immediate impact. How do you as an individual continue to be the spark for the Roughnecks offense?
Just starts with my effort. I think coach wanted a little bit more out of me effort-wise, and realized that it's not all about scoring for me. I have to move and make space for my teammates, and that's my big role for the team.
You talked about effort. When the Roughnecks offense comes on the floor with speed, when you have multiple swings, you guys are very successful. How do you stay disciplined as an offense to continue that for 60 minutes?
We just got to keep moving the ball and understand that it's a unit, and when we handicap ourselves when we just hold on to the ball and just 1 or 2 guys touches the ball. But when we play as a unit, we're hard to stop.
7 goals in the first quarter, a big barrage. Can the Roughnecks continue it? Make some noise, fans. I think they can.
Thanks, Andrew. 4 points in that quarter for Holden Katoni. 7-2, the Roughnecks lead. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com.
Pro lacrosse teams are now fielded in Philadelphia, Boston, New York, Maryland, Montreal, and Quebec.
Yesterday there was friendly competition and not so friendly competition. We knew our true colors weren't just worn on our backs, they were painted on our faces and hoisted as high in the air as we could possibly carry them. Whatever it took to claim our turf. Yesterday we left it all out there. Blood, sweat, tears, you name it, we left it. We kept ourselves focused and we kept each other in check. And the only thing we took were epic shots. Yesterday we saw more twists and turns in 8 seconds than most people saw in an entire season. We lost the ball, lost our minds, we lost countless times in every game. If you could see the ball, that was a slow day. Yesterday, physics didn't apply to us. Gravity wasn't welcome in our box. Armed with just a stick and a ball, we took flight. Yesterday, we were the best we could be. Today is our day.
Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Sports Interaction, Canada's home for worldwide sports betting. Bet responsibly at sportsinteraction.com. Disclaimer, only residents of Canada may open an account with Sports Interaction. The service is not available to users outside of Canada.
Calgary Roughnecks with the lead after the first quarter. The Georgia Swarm trailing this one by 5, but will get the first possession. Bob Snyder in that first quarter winning 8 out of 10 draws. So the veteran certainly doing the job on the dot when it comes to the Roughnecks and giving them some extra possessions. One of the reasons why they're up in this one. We'll see if Georgia can inch their way back in this one. Pass down low, hard angle shot from Miles Thompson off the pass from his brother, doesn't work. Battle in the corner ensues for it, and Calgary comes out with that loose ball. Scott Carnegie struggles with it near center. Double team, so he has to basically throw it away and right into the stick of the awaiting member of the Swarm. That was Sean Young intercepting it. And now Georgia comes back into the zone. Pass from Lyle. And now they come over to the other side to Jerome Thompson. Thompson now looking to cut to the net. Gets it on net, but in the crease. And now Calgary will take over. Brody McDonald still in net for the Swarm, so Mike Poulin remains on the bench for now. Not exactly the homecoming he was hoping for tonight. We'll see if he gets back into this one, if they'll go with McDonald the rest of the way. Digby now with it. Digs it out of his shoes, gets it now, pass across up high to Doby. Doby now with 5 to shoot. And we're gonna get an off ball, I think a hard pick there called, so possession back to the Swarm as they look to open the scoring here in the second quarter. Took them a while in the first quarter to get on the board, and they're looking to get back into this one down by 5 thanks to that late goal in the first quarter by Digby. Now Jackson passes off. That's Hall with it. Hall fakes the shot, now goes low, and Chiliano makes a nice stop.
Yeah, solid night so far for Frank Chiliano, really keeping his team ahead.
There's Shatler, the late man off the bench, and a nice save there by McDonald. And now off to the races. Here's McIntosh. He's got a 3-on-2 developing. Passes off. There's the shot, and Chiliano, another nice save. Rebound is sitting there. That diving attempt doesn't work, as that was McIntosh flying through there after the initial attempt by Tutton. Now here's Bob Snyder. Pass across to Doby, doesn't work. Doby does find it off the boards, though. Calgary trying to recover here. Penalty upcoming, I believe. Yes, to the Swarm. Chiliano to the bench. Calgary will try and work the 6-on-5 here. Already worked it once to success.
Yeah, Doby got clobbered from behind. He's standing, but he's not moving yet.
There's the shot by Berg, and Doby's over there. A little bit ginger over there. gets the ball and with it the fresh 30 as it continues to be 6-on-5 here on the delayed penalty. Doby directing traffic. He's been very emphatic out there tonight. And he is one of the leaders now, one of the veterans on this team. Here's Dixon now with it, trying to find Doby cutting to the net. And now we will now finally get that call to the Georgia Swarm, and Calgary will to the power play. That power play 1-for-1 on the evening so far.
Yeah, it was a quick 1-for-1 as well. They also scored with the man advantage on a delayed penalty call earlier tonight as well. A slashing call here to number 10, Alex Krapinczyk, as he'll sit for 2 or less as the Roughnecks offense goes to work.
That was Dane Doby that got the power play goal last time out. Early in that one, as you said, Ryan. Now it's Berg playing the high spot. Plays to Dixon, back up high to Berg with room. Now to Doby, takes the shot, was deflected. Doesn't get to the net. And now a nice chip ahead to himself. Jordan McIntosh has a partial break. McIntosh leans on Dixon and then try to flip it across to Brian Cole. That does not work. Allows Dixon to come over and recover the loose ball and immediately gives it to Doby.
And Doby's got to hurry here. He's only got just at the last second getting it across the restraining line to avoid that 8-second violation.
Now to Berg up high again. Back and forth with Doby. Berg again to Doby as they inch their way in. Now behind the back to Dixon. Dixon to the net. Nice save by McDonald as it looked like Dixon had room up high. And now the Swarm will work shorthanded here. Tutton has it. They've got 1 minute and 2 seconds remaining in the penalty here. And no doubt we'll try and kill as much of that as possible. So at this moment, Tutton just content to hang on to the ball, not really being challenged with 10 now on the shot clock. Now he'll step over the restraining line. Greeted there. Now tries to spin off his man, puts a shot on net. Tricky little shot, handled by Chiliano, and then Tutton all over the loose ball, nearly turned it back over, but Burton survives his check and steps over center and is going to give it to Berg with now 33 seconds to go on the power play. One more attempt here for the Roughnecks to cash this one in. Leading 7-2 with 10.5 to go here in the first half. Berg again. Now they'll move things around. Dixon goes to the high spot. Dixon to Digby with room. Takes the shot. McDonald doesn't know where it is. I don't know where it is either. It was somewhere in there.
It got stuck in his equipment. Took a second to shake loose. But McDonald keeping it out.
Now Cole has it, as the Swarm should be good here to kill the remaining 5 seconds of this penalty. Calgary got some good looks here, but some big stops by McDonald in net. And now we're back to 5-on-5 play. And the Swarm can get back to the business of trying to close what is now a 5-goal gap against the Calgary Roughnecks. That ball is dropped by Lyle Thompson. Now a battle in the boards, Manning all over him. And Calgary will get possession back when we return. 7-2, Calgary with the lead. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com.
Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Sports Interaction, Canada's home for worldwide sports betting. Bet responsibly at sportsinteraction.com. Disclaimer, only residents of Canada may open an account with Sports Interaction. The service is not available to users outside of Canada.
A reminder, you can sign up and get all the latest NLL news delivered right to your inbox. Visit NLL.com and sign up for the NLL newsletter now. 7-2, Calgary with the lead over Georgia here tonight at Scotiabank Saddledome. 9:54 to go here in the second quarter. A quarter that we're waiting for the first goal of that quarter. And Calgary will try and change that right here as Dixon runs it over center, gives it to Riley Lowen. And Lowen now comes near side to Berg. Berg now gets help from Dixon. Berg takes the shot, and McDonald kicks that one out. He's been sharp since coming in relief of Mike Poulin.
Yeah, McDonald allowing 2 goals in that first quarter, but stopping everything here in the second quarter. Roughnecks now have 23 shots on goal. McDonald making a substantial number of saves, as Mike Poulin was only about 50% when he got pulled.
Now Shane Jackson trying to find Paulus in the crease area. That doesn't work. 8 now to shoot. Hall with it. Hall passes off, scores! As he was falling, Johnny Paulus got the shot off and beats Frank Chiliano 7-3, and the Swarm are back to within 4.
Yeah, tough one for a goaltender there, as you see here. Right as Paulus is about to shoot, he gets hit by Garrett McIntosh, which changes the release point for Johnny Paulus, and now Frank Chiliano, instead of being square to where the shooter's stick was, is now no longer a square to where it is, and now that makes it a 7-3 game on the player traded from the Roughnecks for Curtis Dixon.
Yeah, and Paulus has had a good career himself. Already that young man has 3 Champions Cup to his name. Not too shabby, and a long career ahead of him still. Now as a member of the Georgia Swarm. Now it's Lyle Thompson, another young man with a long career ahead of him. So much youth on this team. Shane Jackson puts it off the bean of Frank Chiliano, and he scoops up the rebound. Plays it ahead to Manning. Manning now runs it over center, finds Dane Doby. He looked a little shaken up earlier, but good to see he's back on the floor and looking to be moving okay. Now Digby with it. Digby back over to the other side to Doby. Doby now comes to Digby. Digby, pass across. Shatler tries an off-speed shot. Might have hit a stick, actually. McDonald makes the save either way. And now a chance for the Swarm to get back to within 3 here. They haven't been that close since early in the first quarter. Here's Jordan Hall with it. Hall set up the last one. Now this time thought about a shot, then thought better of it. Now he puts it up high to Matisse, and Matisse passes off. There's a shot, wide and high. And now the Roughnecks are going to chase it down here. Potentially an opportunity for a break for Garrett McIntosh. McIntosh pulls up, shoots! McDonald looks behind him, but it's underneath his equipment as he keeps it out.
Yeah, Garrett McIntosh had the Roughnecks' first goal last night. And you can see he getting a bit of a talking to from the coach on the bench, but I'm not sure it's any kind of trouble from Kurt Malosky there, as McIntosh has been very successful on those transition opportunities this season.
Yeah, when he gets a look, and we've seen that really his entire career so far, when he gets a good look, he can score them sometimes. Manning now passes off to Berg. Berg now cuts to the net, takes the shot and scores! Wes Berg, second of the night. 8-3 Calgary.
Boy, has the focus ever been on shots on goal tonight. The Roughnecks 26 shots so far, and if I'm doing the math right, through about 22 minutes, they are getting the ball on the Swarm goaltenders, and it's all well and good to have a high save percentage, but if you're firing at the ball at the net at the rate the Roughnecks are doing right now, you're going to end up with quite a few, whether or not you make your regular amount of saves. You can see Wes Berg there with the U-Hawk camera on, so you'll see some footage of that goal, I'm sure, hitting the internet, as that is a cool angle for my money.
Absolutely, and that's a tricky goal, as he was basically moving the other way and shot across his own body. Tough one for the goalie to handle, and as a result, Calgary has 8 and back up to 5, and now looking for more. Here's Dixon. Dixon now takes a shot, scores! Curtis Dixon makes it 9-3 Calgary.
The league leader in goals coming in, very dangerous from all points on the floor, and Dixon just stepping back with that low delivery that he's got, the underhand delivery. You don't know if it's coming high, you don't know if it's going low. A super tricky shot there, and that one from the overhead goes low and beats Brody McDonald to make it a 9-3 score, and all of a sudden the Roughnecks have restored or have extended to their largest lead of the night at 6 goals.
Well, I think for the Roughnecks, one of the most positive signs is you have 9 goals now, and Curtis Dixon doesn't get one until the 9th. So that's what they've been looking for a number of weeks. Curtis Dixon has been carrying this team at times offensively. Tonight, everyone is in on the fun, and now they're coming down the floor again looking for more. At Shatler, trying to find Lowen. He's hit hard. Another penalty coming up to Georgia. Calgary will work the 6 and 5 once again. Chiliano to the bench. Dixon shoots and scores! Second in a row for Superman. It's a 10 spot for the Roughnecks, 10-3.
The Roughnecks have 10 goals, and there is 6 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first half. Safe to say that right now, a lot of the regular season highs are in danger here offensively for the Calgary Roughnecks. Most goals on a year, 14, and they've done that twice. And now Mike Poulin returns to the Georgia net after Brody McDonald allows 5 of his own, and Curtis Dixon is 29th of the season.
Yeah, he's on a quest, although if you ask him, it doesn't matter to him, but he's trying to become the first NLL player to score back-to-back 60 goals. And his pace has tailed off the last couple of weeks, including a bagel in Saskatchewan, but looks like he's warming up here tonight as he's got 2 straight in the second quarter. And as a result, Calgary now up 10-3, and it'll be Georgia getting possession here off the face-off, as they will look for some sort of answer here. They really haven't had any run whatsoever in this one, and again, trailing now by a game-high 7. Thompson rolls off the check and puts it up high on Chiliano, who makes the save and then crumples. That took him in a soft spot, I think, right potentially on the collarbone. That stings.
Yeah, I've talked to a former Roughnecks goaltender here in town and occasional fill-in broadcaster, Alex Coots. And he said that he's had his collarbone broken twice by forever a Roughneck member, Caleb Toth, here in warm-up, as you take the shot in the wrong spot, and all of a sudden that collarbone is shattered. Certainly doesn't look like that here for Chiliano, but not entirely the protection you would hope.
Now Digby goes behind his back and scores. Oh, that's pretty. And that's an 11-3 Roughneck lead.
Tyler Digby getting it done offensively. The Roughnecks are feeling it right now. Digby goes around the world to find the bottom corner on Poulin, and all of a sudden the 7-1 Swarm are down 8 goals to the 3-6 Roughnecks. What a night here for that Roughnecks offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Just goes to show that anything can happen in the NLL, as it's a bit of a stunner here. The only good news for Georgia is there is still tons of time in this one, and with this offense, this one is far from over. Shatler now passes up high to Lowen. Lowen comes back to Shatler from the corner. Over to the other side, Berg would have had a good look. There's another behind the back attempt by Doby. Flashed on it, and now ahead of the play, here's Ranagan. Ranagan passes off. There's McIntosh, the shot saved by Chiliano. And now ahead of the play, Bell has it. Bell has a partial break. Bell is in. Stops, falls down. Good defense there. That by Sean Young to get back on Bell. And as a result, nothing coming of that chance.
Yeah, Bell, I think, was looking for help off the bench, and when he saw it wasn't coming, by then he was a little too tight to the crease to make a decision.
So now the Swarm back to the offense here. Thompson rolls off the check. Try to find Jerome Thompson on the other side. Misses him completely, and now Calgary has numbers again as they break down the floor. There's the shot, booted out nicely there by Mike Poulin. Right into the stick of Manning, though, who will come high to Shatler, and Calgary will now get the offense on the floor. 11-3, Calgary with the lead, under 5 to go here in the first half. Shots on goal 30-16, favoring the Roughnecks. Now Dixon has it. Dixon spins off a couple men. Dixon to the net. As he's falling, he nearly puts it in. Poulin keeps it out.
A nice save there on Superman as Mike Poulin shuts the door on what would have been a spectacular goal.
Everything working for the Roughnecks. 11-3, they lead. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com. 11-3, the Calgary Roughnecks leading the Georgia Swarm tonight in Calgary. Ryan, what is happening elsewhere?
Well, earlier today, it was the Rochester Nighthawks getting a measure of revenge as they lost to Buffalo last night, but beat the Bandits by a 9-8 score in overtime. And later tonight, about a half an hour from now, it'll be the Vancouver Stealth taking on the Saskatchewan Rush. I'm sure Roughneck fans will be right on top of that one once this one comes to a close.
Swarm with possession here as they look to get back in this one. Here comes the shot. Chiliano makes the save. And now Calgary recovers the loose ball. It's going to come back to Georgia, though.
Over and back is the call as the player Carnegie picked it up outside the crease and then walked right back in it. Not allowed to do that.
There's another shot, another save, Chiliano. Harnett recovers loose ball, but I think we're going to get a penalty here to the Calgary Roughnecks. And haven't been a lot of them so far in this one. There's been several delayed penalties, but this will just be the Swarm's second time going a man up. 1 for 1 so far on the evening. And it is the captain heading to the sin bin.
2 minutes illegal body check.
Illegal body check, the call.
When the call came in, and you can see there as he goes through the player, when the call was whistled down, Carnegie gave a "who me" as demonstrative as I've seen from the Calgary captain.
So a chance here for the Swarm to get some momentum here as this comes with 4 minutes to go here in the half. Here's Paulus with it. Paulus passes off, now gets the return pass. Thought about a shot, then a quick stick from a really hard angle. Ball rolls to the crease area and scooped up there by the Roughnecks, and they're now coming down the floor shorthanded. Dane Doby thought about trying to break away, but Manning decides to hold, and with still about 90 seconds to go on the power play for the Swarm, that's not a bad idea. And now they'll go to work shorthanded. Curtis Dixon has it. Dixon with a pair in this quarter. Passes off, behind the back, scores! Dane Doby, hat trick for him. And Calgary's got a dozen.
An around the world one-timer from the slot for Dane Doby. Well, you want to bet you might see that on Versus later this week on the NLL's plays of the week. What a pickup as Doby goes around the world on Mike Poulin for his goal. Make it 12-3. Roughnecks lead by 9.
Swarm off the face-off, try to break down. Hall cut off. And again, that comes short-handed. Minute 5 remaining still on the power play here for Georgia. Thompson now has it. Has Paulus up high, gives it to him. Paulus now thought about a shot. Comes across the other side, and I think we're getting a too many men penalty to the Swarm, and I was doing the counting right there, and there was, for about 20 seconds, 6 members of Georgia on the floor at the same time. I assume that's the call here, because it seemed really obvious to me, but sometimes counting's not my strong suit, so.
Well, it is 4-on-4, and now a player's running over to the box. It's going to be Jerome Thompson serving 2.
And I think if you go back and watch that one, you'll find that, yeah, all of a sudden everyone realized, wow, there's a lot of players on the floor here. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's very clearly a too many men penalty.
So we'll have 4-on-4 for a while now, well, at least for 41 seconds. Lots of floor out there for Dixon to work with. He has Digby on this side with him. Dixon now up high to Schattler. Schattler winds, fires. Nice save there by Poulin. Rebound up for grabs, goes to the corner. Digby's going to come over there and battle for it. However, Chad Tutton comes out of that with it and plays it ahead. Now in transition, it's Brian Cole. Cole now waiting for help. And now he'll go to the bench, and before he does, passes off. Again, the Swarm down in this one, now 9. A man all alone in front, and Chiliano makes the save as he stones Lyle Thompson, who could have had a cup of coffee and read a book down there.
A robbery by Frank Chiliano to keep this a 9-goal lead. Only 3 goals against for Frank Chiliano so far in this one, backing up what was a god-awful night last night. with a spectacular performance here in front of the home fans.
Shot on goal, save made by Poulin. Reset to 30. Here's Doby with it again to Berg. Down to Schattler. He takes a shot up high on Poulin, makes the nice save, and now looks down the floor. Calgary now on the power play and will be for another 38 seconds. Nearly turned over, and it is on the 8-second violation.
Yeah, nice defense there from the Roughnecks to keep the Swarm from getting over the half-court line.
That's important because without that, they wouldn't really have had not much of a chance on this power play. Now they'll get a possession on it as they work the 5-on-4. Lowen takes it off the corner wall. Now to Doby. Doby again directing traffic out there. Changes spots. Nice pass to Digby. Doesn't quite connect. Turned over there. And then it's turned over, swatted by Berg. And then Georgia will just throw it down the floor to kill off the remaining time in the power play. And we are now back to 5-on-5 as Jerome Thompson is out of the box. Now here's Berg, takes the shot, save made by Poulin. Rebound to Jordan McIntosh ahead of the play. He's got Chad Tutton in transition. Tutton's got numbers with him. Man off the bench, and as the shot was coming, deflected. Now Tutton again fakes the shot, cutting to the net, tried to go up high. Shiliano makes another nice save, and Calgary has the ball. Here's Manning. Manning has a man. There's the shot, saved by Poulin off of Riley Lowen. Now a long pass ahead. There's a spinorama shot and save made by Shiliano as we get a little back and forth.
No shortage of highlights here for this game is what a save by Frank Shiliano on the far end of the floor as he keeps it a 12-3 game on a nice around-the-world attempt from the Swarm player. Some fast and furious action here at the Rough House.
Yeah, it was John Rannigan down there taking a long rainbow pass from Mike Poulin. Spins off the check, and then look at that kick save by Shiliano.
And almost bounced back in off the Roughnecks defenseman.
Yeah, had to make 2 stops.
As it comes back in off of John Harnett, and Shiliano keeps it out, and the Roughnecks calling timeout, trying to get one more here before the end of the second quarter. Again, the most goals the Roughnecks have scored. Oh, well, look at that. The most goals the Roughnecks have scored in a game this year is 14, and they have 12 here in the first half. Just a remarkable start for the Roughnecks after what has been a 5-game losing streak. They are looking to break that here tonight.
I would say the story of this half has been you got to be lucky to be good and good to be lucky. The Roughnecks have been good and the Roughnecks have been lucky. They have had almost everything go their way, but they are also completely full value for this lead, and they want to get one more here and get to a baker's dozen. They will get one more opportunity. Frank Shiliano on the bench, so they're going to work things here 6-on-5 with now 10 seconds on the game clock. They'll start to look towards the net. Lowen has it. Lowen to Dixon now. Dixon now passes off. There's the shot. Scores! Dane Doby with 2.5 on the clock. They scored with 2 seconds to go in the first quarter. 2.5 here in the second. And they got 13 and a 10-goal lead on the 7-1 Swarm.
Wow. Just wow. At this point, that's all you can say. The Roughnecks are doing everything they want offensively. They are scoring seemingly at will. That shot, not even a tough one for Dane Doby, not even a hard value shot. Nevertheless, beats Mike Poulin. 13-3 the lead as we head to the half.
Yeah, and stay tuned for the halftime show here on NLLtv.com. We'll be back with the second half in about 15 minutes. Your score at halftime, 13-3, the Roughnecks lead. Oh my, you're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLtv.com.
Pro lacrosse teams are now fielded in Philadelphia, Boston, New York, Maryland, Montreal, and Quebec.
Yesterday, there was friendly competition and not so friendly competition. We knew our true colors weren't just worn on our backs, they were painted on our faces and hoisted as high in the air as we could possibly carry them. Whatever it took to claim our turf. Yesterday, we left it all out there. Blood, sweat, tears. You name it, we left it. We kept ourselves focused and we kept each other in check. And the only thing we took were epic shots. Yesterday, we saw more twists and turns in 8 seconds than most people saw in an entire season. We lost the ball, lost our minds. We lost countless times in every game. If you could see the ball, that was a slow day. Yesterday, physics didn't apply to us. Gravity wasn't welcome in our box. Armed with just a stick and a ball, we took flight. Yesterday, we were the best we could be. Today is our day.
Welcome, lacrosse fans. Tyson Geik of NLL Productions here with you right now, and I'm joined by Shay Hewen, CEO and founder of the U-Hawk Camera. We have some exciting news for you today. The NLL has officially partnered with the U-Hawk Camera, the new official action camera of the National Lacrosse League. Shay, an exciting moment, for both parties here.
Yeah, it's an incredible day. It's a big step and a big moment in the history of sports, and for the National Lacrosse League to be the first league to step up and bring actual player point of view, video footage to fans at home in the actual real raw competition in the season. It's a monumental day, and we're very excited to be the official camera provider to be a part of that.
The National Lacrosse League logo honors its over 30 years of history, but also pushes towards a new era, a new day. An updated colorway of black and silver illuminates the way forward, with technology and innovation as our mandate. The shield captures the warrior spirit of the physical battle of sport while being modern enough to appeal to new audiences. The goal. By extruding the shape of the shield, the container is one that is a nod to the ubiquitous shape of a lacrosse goal. The original four arrows representing the founding of our league with 4 professional box lacrosse teams. Washington, D.C., Baltimore, New Jersey, Philadelphia, converged to create the NLL Star. A modern interpretation of a star that combines both the arrows of the original 4 teams and a Native American morning star. The 4 arrows converge to create the heart of the star representing the current teams and the fans who are the beacon of the future of the National Lacrosse League. This is the National Lacrosse League. Today is our day.
The Calgary Roughnecks are back in the Roughhouse Saturday, March 25th at 7 p.m. to take on the New England Black Wolves for Forever a Roughneck Night, presented by Cardell Homes. Get to your seats early to help the Roughnecks celebrate the career of former captain and Forever a Roughneck, number 17, Tracy Koluski. In honor of number 17, tickets to the game are $17 plus applicable fees. Get your tickets today at CalgaryRoughnecks.com. Calgary Roughnecks, come for the party, stay for the game.
The red-hot Georgia Swarm Pro Lacrosse team returns home on Friday, March 17th at 7:35 to take on the Calgary Roughnecks at Harrah's Cherokee Casino Field Infinite Energy Arena. Come see the fastest game on 2 feet. Seats on the lower level start as low as $27. To purchase tickets, call 844-4GA-SWARM or visit georgiaswarm.com. Free parking at all home games. Come for the game, stay for the party.
Time now for my box bosses, and these picks were actually pretty easy for me this week. I think there was 3 players that really stepped up and were very big parts of their team's wins. So let's start off at number 3 with Mark Matthews of the Saskatchewan Rush. Matthews is currently 3rd in league scoring. He's always a threat on offense. Known for his swim move, he can gain the middle of the floor and make the other team pay. But what he's really impressed me with this season has been his ability to feed the ball. He's got great lacrosse IQ and always gets the ball to his teammates at the right time. He's a big part of that offensive unit. At number 2, Rochester Nighthawks, Josh Courier, the rookie, 3 goals, 1 assist this past weekend in his team's win over the Vancouver Stealth. Courier is a rookie that's leading the way for the Nighthawks, currently tied for the team league in points. He's got 15 goals and 15 assists for 30 points on the season now. The Nighthawks' future, let me tell you, is bright with this guy on offense. He was a big part of that win in Week 9. And at number 1, I've got Mitch Jones of the Buffalo Bandits, 4 goals, 1 assist against the Toronto Rock. He's my number 1 box boss of the week. I've really liked the way that this guy's been playing all season long. He didn't really disappoint this past weekend against the Rock. He's got the Bandits on the board first with an amazing goal that he scored while lying face down. Spoiler alert, it's going to be in versus. I think the Bandits want to be successful. They have to continue to see strong play from a guy like Mitch Jones. Just a great effort. Despite an East Division semifinal exit, the 2016 season saw the Georgia Swarm finishing amongst the league's worst in terms of goals against average and goaltender save percentages. On the first day of free agency, owner and general manager John Arlotta looked to address his team's needs as he signed veteran netminder Mike Poulin to a 3-year contract. This fresh start turned out to be just what both sides were looking for.
You know, Calgary was very good to me. It was a lot of fun, and even before that, I've had some great experiences in this league. But I was looking for, you know, a new opportunity to be with a different organization and just try something different.
One of the things we talk about with the Swarm is that, you know, we want character people, and Mike's, you know, first and foremost, he's a character person, and that was important to us. And you know, we were looking for a guy that we could come in and be a leader, and I think Mike's had a great year last year, and you know, really helped Calgary rebound from a tough start. And you know, we're hoping he can come in and play great for us, provide us that veteran leadership, and a guy that we know we can build with for the future.
The Swarm suffered a heartbreaking overtime loss to the New England Black Wolves in the East Division semifinal last season. Given the fact that the NLL is such a competitive league from top to bottom, Poulin believes that if you start small, the rest will follow.
Every game, you know, every team was tight last year. I mean, the teams that missed the playoffs only missed by a game or so. And so when I looked at it, it was like 14-13 overtime game. And even, you know, in the West, that first round playoff was an overtime game. So it's just really making marginal differences. I don't expect to come in here and hold teams to 8 goals against per game. I just want to come in here and make that one extra save that helps us, you know, win those 1-goal games. So I'm certainly not putting the pressure on myself to turn anything around here and get 15 wins, but just making marginal differences that add up at the end of the year so that we can win that overtime game.
In their very first game of the season, the Swarm looked to be losing grasp against the defending Champions Cup winning Saskatchewan Rush. The team gave up 4 unanswered goals, and starting goaltender Brodie McDonald had allowed 7 goals on just 21 shots. It was at that point that the Swarm would give Mike Poulin the nod, and from then on, it was all Georgia.
Saved by Carlson, and a rebound shot, score! So it might just be 1 minute left. 9 in the shot clock, and a score! Stots gives the give and go, and the Swarm take the lead. A low shot that sneaks by, he scores! There's Lyle Thompson. Chases it down, Cole shoots and scores!
It turned out Poulin's calming presence in goal was exactly what the Swarm needed.
With this group of guys here in Georgia, absolutely awesome group of guys. I've enjoyed every minute being here and getting to know them. But I'm hoping that, you know, when we get into those adverse situations where teams go on runs or, you know, things just aren't going our way, that I can speak from experiences that I've gone through that can, you know, help us get to the next level. Because there's only 18 games in a tight season like this. Anything can happen, and I've been on teams that started 6-0 or 0-6, and it doesn't take much to either turn it around either way. So hopefully from the experiences that I've been through, and a lot of these young guys have gone to colleges and won championships and won Mintos and Mans, so it's not like they don't know. It's just sometimes you need a new voice in there as well.
The sport of box lacrosse is fairly new to Georgia, and Poulin believes that it's up to he and the rest of the Swarm to help the game flourish in the southern state.
We have to win. We have to win. I think fans love winning teams, and that's fair for both sides. So you want to go and you want to see a good product. You want to see your team compete, your city win. So as players, we need to understand that our performance goes a lot further than just having fun out there on weekends. It goes a long way towards making our ownership group successful and making the sport of lacrosse grow, especially in markets like Georgia where there's great potential. I think when you look at what Saskatoon did last year, their performance on the floor is what helped get that city behind them. And they've done a fantastic job as an organization, bringing those fans back and engaging them and really doing all the right things, but it all starts with winning on the floor.
Subscribe to NLL TV today and find out if Mike Poulin and the Georgia Swarm can continue their undefeated ways. For NLL Productions, I'm Tyson Geik. Welcome lacrosse fans, Tyson Geik of NLL Productions here with you right now, and I'm joined by Shay Hewen, CEO and founder of the U-Hawk Camera. We have some exciting news for you today. The NLL has officially partnered with the U-Hawk Camera, the new official action camera of the National Lacrosse League. Shay, an exciting moment, for both parties here.
Yeah, it's an incredible day. It's a big step and a big moment in the history of sports, and for the National Lacrosse League to be the first league to step up and bring actual player point of view, video footage to fans at home in the actual real raw competition in the season. It's a monumental day, and we're very excited to be the official camera provider to be a part of that.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the NLL Social Circle, where we take a look at some of the big stories happening across the league on social media this week. And we actually start off this episode with some big news coming from the NLL this week. That is right, the league announced on social media that season ticket memberships for 2017 have grown by double digits this year. And fans were responding to this. Wes Dorkson says that he and his wife don't agree on much when it comes to sports, but they both love the NLL. Yeehaw! It's not just a party in Calgary this week, it is actually a Western party. That is right, Calgary's very own Cole Bradley will be performing at this week's game, and fans seem to be pretty pumped up about this. So make sure you got your boots on, because I'm sure there'll be plenty of dancing. Take a look at this adorable video. Chris Corbiel, Aaron Bolt, and of course Bruiser the Bulldog visited some kids at Children's Hospital of Saskatchewan this week. And sticking with the Rush, well, there was some horseplaying going on this week. Take a look at this picture posted by fan Cody Stranger. Even Grandma Rush getting involved. A big achievement unlocked in Vancouver this week. That's right, Ian Hawksby earned his 1,000th career loose ball. Congratulations. And the competition is really heating up in Colorado between two teammates, actually. Fans have had all week to choose if they're going to be Team Noble or Team Geich. Take a look at these videos that the players posted.
I'm with Ilya. I'm with Ilya. No. This is Team Noble territory. I just love Colorado. Such a nice city, beautiful weather, beautiful people. I just don't get it. Anyways, you can go skiing, you can go snowboarding, you can go hiking.
Say no to Team Noble!
What's wrong with these people? Anyways, it's just such a lovely place and great people.
Fans will actually get a t-shirt of whichever team they chose to be on at this week's Mammoth game. Can't wait to see who comes out on top of this competition. Fans, that wraps up this week's episode of the NLL Social Circle. If you want a chance to be featured here, well, all you gotta do is make sure you are tagging the NLL in all of your social media posts. For NLL Productions, I'm Mia Gordon. Hello, everyone.
13-3 the score at halftime. Welcome back to Scotiabank Saddledome. My name's Grant Farhall with Ryan Ballantyne here with you on NLLTV.com. A half dominated by the Calgary Roughnecks to give them a 10-spot of a lead here heading into the second half. Far be it for me to say that this one's over, because it ain't. There's still plenty of time here. In terms of offensive leaders for the Calgary Roughnecks, quite the evening for Dane Doby. 4 goals, 8 points already in just one half of lacrosse. 1 and 3 for Jeff Schattler, 1 and 2 for Riley Lowen, 2 and 3 for Tyler Digby, 1 and 3 for Holden Catoni, 2 and 4 for Curtis Dixon and Wes Berg. Lots of gaudy offensive totals when it comes to the Calgary Roughnecks. Singles from Johnny Powless, Jerome Thompson, Lyle Thompson, and not much else when it comes to the Swarm. And off the face-off, it is rolled back behind Frank Chiliano. He's up with it and will deliver it to Bob Snyder, who was dominant at times on the dot there in the first half, particularly the first quarter. In the second quarter, the Swarm got back into the face-off battle, and it'll probably end up being close to 50-50, as it often is. But nonetheless, Bob Snyder certainly had a nice half for himself. Now here's Doby with it again. Doby will pass off to Berg. Berg finds Digby, and now here's Dixon takes a shot. That skips wide of Mike Poulin. Back in the net here. He came back in after Brody McDonald played the bulk of the second quarter. It is Poulin since late in that quarter, and now here starting the second half.
Yeah, you mentioned 8 points for Dane Doby in that first half. That erases a previous season high for any Roughneck player in a game. It had happened 4 times, 7 points for 4 different players, or 7 points several times for Curtis Dixon, but among others.
Thompson passes off, and now his brother takes the shot. That's Jerome Thompson. Had one of those goals in the first half. Save made by Chiliano. And now Dan McRae off to the races, steps over half, gives it to Holden Catoni, who did not play last night in Denver and has responded in exactly the way that you want to see a young man respond here, who was really good in getting the offense going in the first quarter, and 4 points already for him. Now here's Berg. Berg passes off to Riley Lowen. Lowen takes a shot, saved by Poulin, and he scoops up the rebound as well.
Yeah, nice outside shot there from Riley Lowen down low. Poulin staying square to the shooter, keeping him from scoring.
Now here's McIntosh. He passes off and gets the return feed. Guarded on the play, now looking for a bit of room, fakes the shot. Turned aside once again, this time by Harnett, who delivers him tons of whacks. Now stuff attempt there doesn't work. Instead comes to Cummings, who finds Riley Lowen ahead of the pack.
And the Roughnecks bench was appreciating that effort in turning him back several times and pounding the bench with their sticks in appreciation of the defensive work there.
Now here's Dane Doby. Doby skips his way towards the net. Now gets a pick from Jeff Schattler. Gets the return feed, takes the shot, and Poulin to save off a nice pick and roll play between Doby and Schattler.
Yeah, Schattler trying to go to that far side. Poulin doing nice movement to keep it in front of him. Off the chest, little no rebound.
Now here's an opportunity for the Swarm. Scores. Jerome Thompson flying through the crease. And it's 13-4 as they take a little nibble out of that lead.
That's the second one in the same spot for Jerome Thompson. Kurt Malosky taking a good long look at this one. Looks clean from here, though, no question.
That's actually Shane Jackson, which makes sense because in the first half I called the Jerome Thompson goal. I gave a credit to Shane Jackson. So in the second half, I'm just making it up by giving the reverse. Nonetheless.
So 1 for Thompson, 1 for Jackson. Just
the wrong one.
Opposite ends of the game.
Now here come the Swarm again. McIntosh passed it for the quick stick, scores! Right at the side of the net. That's John Rannigan, and it's 13-5, and that's the start you need if you're the Swarm.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at a game that's 13-3 at the half, you come out and you say, well, there's no reason why we can't do that in the second half, and 2 goals in the first 2:45 is a good way to get off to that start and kind of put that doubt in the minds of the Roughnecks. Say, okay, now you're going to be gripping a little tighter. The lead was 10, now it's down to 8, and you can just keep on climbing back if you're the Swarm. The Roughnecks now losing another face-off. That's a big deal with the momentum, and they're going to take a penalty here as well.
Yeah, I think Bob Snyder got his stick up high on McIntosh there unintentionally, but nonetheless, I think that's the penalty coming up. So the Swarm here will go 6 on 5, and you're not going to get all those goals back at once, but you can certainly slowly get back into it. That's exactly what Georgia is doing here tonight. Goalie to the bench, Thompson behind his back. There's the shot by Matisse and scores! Kyle Matisse, and all of a sudden it's a 7-goal game with 3 quick ones here to start the third quarter for the Swarm.
Yeah, nice work here from the Swarm to get started. Nice little behind-the-back pass. That one just getting under the elbow of Frank Chiliano, and John Harnett was down on the floor briefly. He's walking off, looks like a tender ankle, and Frank Chiliano going to the bench. Some work on the mask required, and so they will take a quick look at Chiliano's mask.
Now, I'm not saying that the equipment adjustment isn't valid, but sometimes this is referred to as the Canadian timeout.
Well, typically the Canadian timeout is when you go down in the crease.
True. Can we call this a modified Canadian timeout?
You probably could and get away with it, but nevertheless, the mask back out there for Frank Chiliano, and he will walk back to the crease. But as you mentioned, a quick start here for the Swarm, matching their entire first half output in just the first 3 minutes and 10 seconds of the third quarter here. And the Roughnecks going to be looking for a face-off win here from Bob Snyder to maybe stop some of this momentum.
And this also comes on the back of a couple of good saves by Mike Poulin early in this quarter. And from the point of view of him, he knows that basically the rest of the way he cannot give up many. Dan McRae runs away from a check, and now will pass it over center. Has a man. It's Digby ahead of the play. Another save by Poulin as he gets the glove on that. Got enough of it to keep it out. And now the Swarm come back, and they will look for now what would be a 4-goal run here. There's Thompson spinning off the check. Lyle Thompson now looking to pass over to the other side. Jackson with it there. Jackson can't find his man. He was looking for Jerome Thompson out of his reach as he was going the other way. And that'll give the Roughnecks possession back here with 11:13 to go here in the third quarter. 13-6. The Roughnecks lead by 7. But the Swarm with 3 quick ones here to get back in this one. Berg now with it. Berg delivers it to Katoni. Katoni now comes down low to Dixon in the corner. Dixon takes a check there. And they're actually going to call Dixon on the infraction there, I guess. And now a breakaway opportunity. Oh, it's just out of the reach of Jackson, who was streaking towards the net there. Couldn't take the pass, and that'll give Roughnecks possession here. McRae now ahead of the play, passes it to Lowen. Lowen now thinks about a shot, and another whistle and another infraction. I think McRae got called for the hard pick there.
Yeah, McRae ran into his man down low, and as a result takes a scoring opportunity away from Riley Lowen.
Now McIntosh to the net, cutting across and scores! Jordan McIntosh with a beauty, and it's 13-7 on a 4-goal run here for the Swarm.
Well, that's your way to open the first half. This one looking a lot like the first quarter. The Roughnecks put up 5 goals in the first 5 minutes. The Swarm trying to match that here. They've got 4 in 4.5. And again, the momentum is shifting here as Christian Del Bianco is going to come into the game. We're not sure how long this will last. Del Bianco started the game last night in Colorado, and Frank Chiliano will head to the bench for a moment. Not sure how long he's going to be there. Coach Miloski often likes his goaltenders to just come in for a minute or two, and it doesn't look like Chiliano's shedding a lot of gear here.
This might be a quick breather here. In fact, Del Bianco started to come out of his net, and then the ball was turned over, so it might be just that quick. As soon as Calgary gets possession back, expect Frank Chiliano to get back in the net here, but before he does, the Swarm are going to try and build on this 4-goal run that's allowed them to get back to within 6 here. There's a shot off of Del Bianco into the corner and recovered there by the man who shot at Thompson, Lyle Thompson. Thompson now tries to get to the net again, still with it, double teamed, throws it into the corner area. Jerome Thompson recovers it there. He's up with it, has a man streaking across the crease, and that shot high over the crossbar off of Jordan Hall. And finally, Calgary recovers it, and Bob Snyder steps over center and into the Georgia end of the floor. Now Del Bianco will come out. Had to make a couple saves there, and Frank Chiliano gives him a high five or a fist pump, and back into the net for Frank. And Calgary back to work offensively, looking for their first goal here of the second half. They've given up 4 and don't want to let the Swarm get much closer. Nothing doing on this offensive possession, though, and Poulin's up with it. Plays it towards center, and now here come the Swarm again, now feeling it offensively. This is Miles Thompson with it. He pulls up, passes off, gets it back from Lyle, takes the shot, goes into the body or right back into the stick. Nonetheless, he passes up high, and now they're going to take it from the corner. Shane Jackson with it there, with 4 to shoot, tries it from a tough angle, handled by Chiliano, and then given up. There's an opportunity, and Chiliano makes the save. Rebound to the Swarm off just a terrible turnover by the Roughnecks that allowed a point-blank opportunity that Chiliano turns aside. Swarm still on it, though. Here's Thompson. Another shot saved by Chiliano into the chest. And we get a timeout on the floor with the Roughnecks. A chance to regroup here. 4 straight by the Swarm. It's 13-7. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com.
Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Sports Interaction, Canada's home for worldwide sports betting. Bet responsibly at sportsinteraction.com. Disclaimer, only residents of Canada may open an account with Sports Interaction. The service is not available to users outside of Canada.
A reminder, don't miss your chance to see all the action live this season on NLLTV.com. Sign up for the NLL Pass to watch all the games or your favorite team. Plus, you get exclusive content, highlights, interviews, and more, all on NLLTV.com. And thank you for joining us on NLLTV tonight as we are watching Calgary and Georgia 13-7. The Roughnecks with a 6-goal lead, but they had a 10-goal lead heading into this quarter, so things certainly have tilted the other direction here so far in the third quarter. Calgary looking for their first goal, have the ball again. Lowen can't find the pass, ball is loose. Saved there by Berg, he's got 9 to shoot, and we're gonna get a penalty here as down in a heap was Brian Cole. I did not see the collision, but Calgary's going to take a penalty here.
Yeah, it's Holden Catoni, and this one may have been a byproduct of angles. We'll see if we can get a replay here.
They're giving him 5 for it, too.
Catoni's got words for the official on the way by.
It is a major.
You're right, it is a major penalty to the rookie, Holden Catoni, and I'm sure we'll get a replay here in a moment.
And an opportunity for Georgia to close the gap here even further, as they're 1 for 2 on the power play, and we'll get a 5-minute 5-on-4 situation here. Try and get a couple on Calgary. So Paulus starts it off. Jackson down just off net. Now Thompson on the other side, both Thompsons on that side. That Way up in the air and into the stands.
Up over the protective netting.
That's quite an angle to do that. Now Lyle Thompson passes off. Now up high to Powless, back to Thompson. Now to Powless again. There's the shot wide, and that's going to come over center. And that should be over and back against the Swarm, unless it was, unless Chiliano got a piece of that, I guess, or someone from the Roughnecks. And now Dan McRae does a nice job of anticipating that pass, steps in front of it, intercept it. And now he's going to try and run it over center, and does. Great work by Dan McRae. Now on a double team, still with the ball. Dan McRae eventually gives it up, but that's some good work there by number 3 for the Roughnecks. Still 4:05 to go here on this long power play for the Swarm. Lyle Thompson with it again, now to Powless. Now they're going to work it from the other side. Shane Jackson has it. Now Powless up high. Lyle and Miles go back and forth as they look for an opening. Now the shot comes in on net. Chiliano to save to the netting. That time Jordan Hall getting it on net. 3:45 and a fresh 30 here for the Swarm. Jackson with it. Now they start to move things around. There's a shot. Another save by Chiliano. Way up in the air. Battle for it. And Mike Carnegie an opportunity, and eventually it comes to Cummings, and he's off to the races. Cummings has help with him. The pass, the shot, scores! Curtis Dixon, short-handed, gets it past Poulin. That is a big goal for the Roughnecks, 14-7.
And a vintage Curtis Dixon goal as he goes flying through the air over the top of Mike Poulin to restore a 7-goal lead, short-handed, the all-time career leader in short-handed goals for your Calgary Roughnecks. Getting it done there and making it a 14-7 game. A big goal and a big spot for the Calgary Roughnecks.
Hat-trick goal for Curtis Dixon. It all starts with Chad Cummings finding that loose ball and eventually springing Dixon. He's been a nice addition, was drafted many years ago, but only now committed to playing in the NL just this season. So he's a rookie, but a rookie with a lot of experience, and has just slid into the lineup nicely for the Roughnecks. And still 3 minutes to go here on this 5-minute man advantage for the Swarm, but they've given up a shorty already on it. Now Thompson will play the up high position, gets the ball, has Matisse to the left of him, Hall to the right. Now Matisse with it, his shot deflected as he was contested. Hall takes it off the boards with 4 to shoot. There's a deflected shot to the corner, and then a hard angle shot from Miles Thompson would not have counted on the 30-second violation. And now with exactly half to go on that 5-minute major, Calgary has possession back and an opportunity to kill some time. Shatler hangs on. Now gives it to Dobie, who I don't think knew it was coming, wasn't looking for it. And as a result, Georgia gets it back, and we're going to get, I think, a couple penalties to Dixon.
I don't know that Dixon's going. Dixon drew that penalty.
Oh, you're right.
That's just a power play or a penalty on the Swarm. Dixon was jawing with number 45 for the Swarm.
Jason Noble.
Jason Noble, who will sit for now two minutes because the Roughnecks still have 2:11 on that major penalty. And he just got up in the face, and his stick got high on Curtis Dixon.
So that means about 2 full minutes, barring any other penalties, of 4-on-4 play here. And we'll see what these guys can do with that. Here's Berg with it, now to Shatler. Shatler, back to Berg, plenty of room. Berg takes the shot, Poulin a nice save, and gets the rebound as well. So this 5-minute power play for Georgia not exactly going to plan, as they fail to cash in and they give up a shorty and then they take their own penalty. Not how you would draw it up. McIntosh with it now. McIntosh passes off to Powless now. Powless takes the shot, trying to find that high corner, misses. Ball way up in the air. Powless finds it, but we're going to get a loose ball push against him. And we're going to get a timeout on the floor with Calgary 14-7 leading Georgia. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com.
It's impossible.
Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Sports Interaction, Canada's home for worldwide sports betting. Bet responsibly at sportsinteraction.com. Disclaimer, only residents of Canada may open an account with Sports Interaction. The service is not available to users outside of Canada.
Roughnecks leading the Georgia Swarm here. Georgia with the balance of the play so far in this third quarter, outscoring Calgary 4-1, but it was a big 10-goal hole they dug themselves in the first half, and a shorthanded Curtis Dixon goal here in the third quarter has restored now a 7-goal lead for the Calgary Roughnecks and put a bit more space between themselves and the Swarm. Calgary going back to work here offensively. And there's a behind-the-back shot from Dixon, nearly beats Mike Poole, and that's worked a couple times for the Roughnecks tonight. One by Digby, one by Doby from way out there. That time, Poulin makes the save. And now the Swarm will get back to the task of trying to get this one to be a little tighter here. Lyle Thompson now, as Poulin goes to the bench, so they're going to work a 5-on-4 here, man off the bench and into the play. There's the shot, booted aside by Poulin, from Chiliano. Poulin's racing back into the net at the other end, and the ball skips to him, and he's up with it.
So, yeah, as the Swarm were collapsing, one of their players went back to the bench to allow Poulin that opportunity to get back in time, so the Roughnecks wouldn't have an open net shot.
Chiliano with another save, and now Tyler Burton has it. Burton steps over center. Now he'll pull up there at the line and give it to Jeff Shatler. We've got about 25 more seconds here of 4-on-4, and then it'll be abbreviated Swarm power play for another 10 seconds. Dane Doby has it now for the, spins off his man. Doby to the net, scores! Dane Doby, 5th of the night, and it's a pretty one. 15-7 Calgary.
What a shot from Dane Doby. We mentioned that the players who have been around the Roughnecks the longest might know the spots to pick on Mike Poulin, and Dane Doby making me look prescient there as he puts it in. And what a goal from 44, and what a night for Dane Doby.
Yeah, he is feeling it tonight. 23 on the season for number 44. And it's an 8-goal cushion for the Roughnecks. McIntosh wins the draw, has the ball. And now wholesale changes here by the Swarm. McIntosh drives the net and punched aside there by Chiliano. I think McIntosh in the crease anyways. So Calgary gets the ball back here with exactly 3 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Curtis Dixon now delivers the ball to Wes Berg. Berg now to Katoni. Katoni now turned aside there, still hangs on with 12 to shoot. Now double team, so he comes to Digby. Digby now up high to Katoni, takes the shot. Poulin with a bit of an armpit save there, has it though. And now here comes Georgia. In transition, Sellers passes off to Matiz. Matiz to Pallas, and Pallas sends it down to the far corner. Jackson now finds Matiz with it. There's a shot off the bar as he beats Chiliano, but not the post. And Calgary has the rebound. Here's Cummings. He's been good tonight. Steps over center to Shatler. As the crowd here chants for 16, that would be the number of the next goal. Dane Doby with it. Doby now takes a couple chops. Doby now drives the net again and tried to stuff it down low on Poulin. Stepped in the crease as he did. Ball sent ahead with now a minute 44 remaining in the third quarter, and was a 15-7 contest. Here's Thompson now. Has a man on top of the crease, and good defense there by Mike Carnegie, the birthday boy, to interrupt that shot. Turned over near center though, and here come the Swarm again. Jordan McIntosh has it. McIntosh will wait for the offensive players to get on the floor before flipping it to Lyle Thompson. Thompson gets a pick from McIntosh. McIntosh tries to get the return pass, can't find it. And there's Mike Carnegie again, Johnny on the spot. Gives it to his brother Scott, who steps over center. And he'll pass off to Holden Katoni. With exactly 60 seconds to go in the third quarter, Calgary has scored late ones in each of the first 2 quarters. We'll see if they can do it again. Dixon now passes off to Berg. Berg now with a bit of room to Shatler. Shatler behind the back to Katoni. Can't handle it cleanly, recovers it. But by that time, the defense collapses on him. Ball turned over, though. Battle for it as Lowen's all over it. Another hit thrown by him. And the ball comes to the bench, and it will be Calgary possession. Nice work there by Riley Lowen.
Yeah, 89 getting it done here for the Calgary Roughnecks as he created not 1 but 2 turnovers there in that short amount of time to give the Roughnecks the ball with just 30 seconds to go and 21 on the shot clock.
Well, this has worked twice already tonight. Those late goals coming under 3 seconds in both first quarters. And they'll hold for a final shot here in the third quarter. Doby has it, comes across the other side. Now Dixon tries a download shot. Save made by Poulin. Dixon again takes the shot. Misses the net, and the quarter will come to an end with the Roughnecks up 15-7. Good start, exactly the start you needed there in the third quarter when it comes to Georgia, Ryan, but they were unable to sustain it, and we've been watching this from the Roughneck point of view a few weeks. So hard to chase and sustain that chase for an extended period of time. It just takes 1 goal to reestablish momentum for the team that's out in front. Just checking to see if Andrew McBride's going to find someone on the floor. I don't think he is, so we'll send a break instead. Your score at the end of 3, 15-7. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com.
He's got Digby on the take, scores! Now back over to Dane Smith with a shot, hit the goal post inside, he scores!
Afraid you might miss out on the big stories from your favorite team? Well, not to fear, the NLL newsletter is here. All you have to do is subscribe to the new NLL newsletter, and you'll get weekly updates from everything that is happening around the league. What are you waiting for? Subscribe today.
If 15-7 Calgary leads Georgia here as we start the final quarter, as the Roughnecks trying to halt a 5-game losing streak, at the same time handing the Swarm what would be only the second loss on the year for Georgia. And right now, 8-goal lead for the Calgary Roughnecks and the first possession here of the fourth quarter. 5-on-5 lacrosse right now. We had a bunch of penalties there in that third quarter, but we are even strength right now to start the fourth. Berg has it for Calgary. Plays it to Shatler. There's a shot wide of the net. Berg chases it down, puts it on net. Save made. Rebound was there with a yawning cage. Dixon couldn't find it. Berg eventually gets it back, though. Berg will now pass off to Katoni. Pardon me, that's Lowen. Lowen to Doby. 9 points for number 44 here tonight. Now he gives it to Lowen. Lowen sort of stumbles on himself, gets back up, still has the ball. Passes off to Westberg with 9 to shoot, down to Doby. Now to Dixon, tough angle shot. Handled by Poulin with some troubles, but he keeps it out.
Yeah, nice defensive help there as the defender stepping in to take the ball out from between Poulin's legs.
So now the Swarm down by 8. They're going to have to do something early here. There's an opportunity for Monetize to scores as he goes up high to beat Chiliano, who takes a stroll immediately after that goal. And the Swarm get an early one, back to within 7, down 15-8.
Yeah, this is a nice goal from Matisse, just outwaiting Chiliano and eventually dunking it over top of the young netminder. As you can see here, he's right on top of the crease. A nice clean look at it. No foot down in the crease. He finds that top corner over the top of Frank Chiliano to reduce the lead to 7.
Yeah, the challenge flags have remained in the pockets of both coaches so far here tonight. Not very often you get to this stage of the game, and that is the case. And a face-off win there for the Swarm. And they're going to have to start to cash in regularly and often. They want to get back into this one. Lyle Thompson has it. Thompson thought about going to Jackson, gets it back though. Now Thompson behind his back to his brother, gets it back, scores! Lyle Thompson from beside Chiliano, and it's 15-9. They're back to within 6, and this is what they did to start the third quarter, Ryan. Those early goals give them a chance.
Yeah, just snuck it in between the wickets of Frank Chiliano there, going 5-hole as he got the return pass, and not much room in there, but making no mistake down low and reducing it to a 6-goal game. This ties pretty much how close it got there in the third quarter before the Roughnecks were able to add a pair and end the quarter up 8. So we'll see if the Roughnecks can respond here against the Swarm and get one of their own.
It starts with a face-off win. They get that. And now Mike Carnegie handles it. Passes off to Digby. Digby to Katoni. And now Calgary goes to work offensively. Digby has it near side. Digby bounces off a check. Digby then double teams, so he'll come to Doby. Doby takes a shot well high on the net. And Poulin will trap it behind the net and now send it way ahead. Has a man down there. Opportunity, shot on net. Chiliano the save as he stops John Rannigan. And now Bob Snyder has to chase it down, gathers it in, and curls away from the check. And now Jeff Shatler wants to slow things down. 12.5 minutes to go. It's a 6-goal lead here for the Roughnecks. They don't want it to get any tighter than that. Riley Lowen with it. Lowen to Berg. Berg with it now, trying to cut to the net. Does try to go up high. Lost the ball as he did. Calgary recovers it though. Shatler behind the net, comes out the side he came in. One-hand shot and right into the padding of Mike Poulin, who was surprised a bit by it. And now here come the Swarm again. It's Cole in transition, hanging on to it. He'll pass off to Jackson off the bench, now to Powless. Powless to Thompson. Back to Jackson, shot, scores! Shane Jackson on top of the crease. 15-10, and it's a 5-goal game, the closest the Swarm have been since the first quarter.
Well, Chiliano saying it didn't go in. Referee right on top of it, though. I imagine that this will be our best look.
It's hard to see where the ball is, and Kurt Malowski is not going to challenge this one.
I think you save it just in case.
So an early 3-goal run here in the fourth quarter has the Swarm back to within 5, and Calgary needs a response here. Bob Snyder with the win on the face-off. Now looks at his options and includes coming to Manning, who will immediately pass off to Tyler Digby. Digby bounces off a check, and then we get an infraction against the Roughnecks, so the Swarm get possession back and all of a sudden can get back to within 4 here as things getting tighter here in Calgary. McIntosh passes off. Now here's Jerome Thompson. Thompson to Lyle. Down low to Miles. Behind the back shot goes wide of the net. Comes to Jordan Hall, who finds Jerome Thompson. Back to Hall. Hall now with 9 to shoot. Gets room to the net. Hall takes the shot, and Chiliano a big save after the seas parted there. Play ahead. Long pass doesn't work, and McIntosh nudges up and gives Mike Poulin a little bit of a hug.
Yeah, McIntosh went hard into the crease, but also very sportsmanlike to make sure it wasn't any more than it needed to be on that rush opportunity.
So the Swarm get it back and now come down the floor again looking for more. There's a shot off of Mike Carnegie and into the netting.
And Carnegie felt that one, taking a couple hop skips after it went off of him.
Now there's a shot high and wide of the net. Diving save attempt there to keep the play alive from Shane Jackson, and does so. Paulus, Thompson. And now on the other side, it's Matisse. He's had a good night. Looking for Jerome Thompson, can't find him. Jackson, though, does come up with it. 8 to shoot. And the ball's on the ground again. No one wants it. A bit of a hot potato, and here's an opportunity. Scores! Matisse the hat-trick goal just as the shot clock was about to expire. It's a 4-goal game. The Swarm are right back in it.
Yeah, with 10-13 to play, there is lots of time here left for the Swarm, who now find themselves with a lot of life here, down 4. And Matisse just rolling that one in past Chiliano with 1 second left on the shot clock. This game has gotten right back to exciting. Anybody that switched over to that other Saskatchewan-Vancouver game may be taking a look at the score and switching back.
Face-off battle, everyone in on it. And it is Calgary that comes up with it. They desperately need a response here or something to take back momentum. Doby has it, back to McIntosh. And now we'll give it to Jeff Shatler, who emphatically barks out directions to his teammates. Bit of frustration here for the Roughnecks as they've let the Swarm back in it. Dixon drops the ball. Nice defense there, and here come the Swarm again. It's Jordan McIntosh with numbers. McIntosh over the line, passes off. That pass not clean. John Rannigan couldn't handle it. And that gives Calgary an opportunity to come back with 9.5 minutes to go down the floor. Mike Carnegie, who's been all over the floor tonight on his birthday, passes off. Shatler thought about going to his left, went to the right to Catoni instead, now to Dixon. Dixon, pass to Shatler, finds it. Well defended. With 7 to shoot now, gets a pick from Catoni. Look at that defense there. Comes to Dixon eventually. Shot off the post from well out. And then nearly a breakaway opportunity there for the Swarm. It was poked by the Roughnecks just to prevent that from happening, but Krapensik has it now for the Swarm. With now 8:52 to go, the Swarm can make a 3-goal lead for the Roughnecks and really put the pressure on the Riggers. Now here's Hall with it. Hall passes off to Paulus, shot, Chiliano the save, rebound, contested. No one has it yet. Thompson finds it. Over to the side, Jackson can't handle it cleanly. Recovers it in the corner though. Bounce back to Hall. Plays it down low. Pass to Jackson doesn't work. Comes to the high slot eventually. And another big save there by Chiliano. Played ahead, here's Dobe, breakaway, scores! Sock trick for Dobe! 16 to 11 as number 44 points back at Frank Chiliano for what was a perfect pass to Spring 44.
Well, a rainbow pass all the way to the bench where Doby was waiting for the ball. What a play from 44 to go low on Poulin and stop the bleeding here. Restore a 5-goal lead. And last night it was Callum Crawford turning a sock trick against the Roughnecks. Dane Doby picks up one of his own here tonight.
6 goals and 10 points for Doby. Quite the night for one of the all-time greats of the Calgary Roughnecks. They needed someone to step up, and the veteran Dane Doby has done that here tonight in Calgary. And that 5-goal lead feels a lot better than 4. Now here's Dixon. Dixon, pass to Berg, try to bounce it one-handed. Penalty upcoming to the Swarm as Berg was grabbed. And some confusion over by the benches. It will be a Swarm penalty. We'll get you the details when we come back. 16-11, Calgary with the lead. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com.
Versus Week 9, it's a good one. Mitch Jones of the Bandits going up against Dan Dawson of the Nighthawks. Take a look at the champion play. Dawson, behind the back, below the waist shot, and beats Nick Rose. Gonna have a second look at this one. And this goal, of course, took down Curtis Dixon. Also had the behind the back, below the waist shot, also against Nick Rose. Now we look at the challenger. Mitch Jones falling on his face, scores. Wow. Second effort gets him the goal. He's got Hofstrauser on top of him and still manages to put it in. What's with the trend of all these versus goals being scored against the Rock? This goal also doing a great job of setting the stage for the duel between the Bandits and Nighthawks this weekend. Who have you got, Dan Dawson? Or do you have Mitch Jones, ladies and gentlemen? Head to Twitter now. Cast your vote. We need your help.
A reminder, this copyright telecast of the National Lacrosse League Incorporated may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the National Lacrosse League. 16-11, the Calgary Roughnecks with a 5-goal lead and now a power play to boot as it's Sean Young in the box for the Swarm. And a goal here on the power play probably will be the nail in the coffin when it comes to this one, but we'll see what happens. Dane Dobie, 6 goals tonight to Dixon. Over to Schattler. Berg with the shot, looking for the corner. Nice ball movement there by the Roughnecks as everyone got in on that one. 9 to shoot now. Dixon closes in to Digby. Digby turned aside, comes to Dobie. Dobie takes the shot down low on Poulin, looking 5-hole. Poulin makes the save. And now looking to spring someone down the floor. And it's immediately turned over there as, contested now. And then a tough hit right over by the bench. As I think that's Monetize in there. Pardon me, that's Thompson who found himself in a real awkward position. Looks like he's okay. But was down on the knees with his sort of back to the player and got crunched in there, but it looks like everyone's okay.
Yeah, I think he was more, he got hit up against the boards. It wasn't a dangerous hit by any stretch from Curtis Manning there, but nevertheless was more protecting the ball and retaining possession, I think, than being hurt, and does cause a face-off here, which isn't a bad thing when you're curled up against the boards with 2 of the opposition players digging at your stick.
It'll be Snyder versus McIntosh. And it looks like it's McIntosh who came up with the win, rather. And immediately looks for a shorthanded opportunity, tries to split the defense, can't take the ball with him. And now it'll come to Dixon ahead of the play. 57 seconds to go here on the power play for the Roughnecks. And we've got 6:30 to go on the game clock in what is a 5-goal, 16-11 Roughneck lead. Berg in the up high spot, back and forth with Dobie. Now back to Dobie again. He closes in behind the back to Dixon, doesn't have the ball, hopped out of his basket. So now here come the Swarm working shorthanded, probably looking for an opportunity if one presents itself, but they also have 30 seconds of power play time still to kill. While Thompson has the ball now. Guarded there, now surveying the scene and directing traffic. Now looking at a double team, tries to spin off the defender, goes back the other way, hangs on, almost split through there. Couldn't take the ball with him though, and now Calgary takes over. Chad Cummings again on the ball. He's been absolutely all over it tonight. Digby now has it to Berg. Power play over, back to 5-on-5. Lacrosse here with now 5:35 to go on the game clock. Calgary continues to lead this one 16-11. Surviving a couple of real pushes by the Swarm, one early in the third and now early in the fourth. And a goal by Doby here seems to have just killed some of that momentum, but we'll see what the Swarm do this time down the floor. They have to start cashing in nearly every time at this point. And now Jerome Thompson with it. Thompson spins off his man, takes the shot, misses the far post. And now here's Bell now. All sorts of floor ahead of him. Bell has a breakaway. Bell's in, takes the shot and scores! Tyson Bell, coast to coast. 17-11.
And that should just about do it for this one, as you've got 5 minutes left and a 6-goal lead. Tyson Bell just turning on the Jets, going past everybody and winding up in the boards, celebrating his goal here to put the Roughnecks up 6, 17-11 in front of 9,780 happy fans having a Western party here at the Scotiabank Saddledome.
Number 5 on the season for Tyson Bell. And as you said, he just turned on the afterburners there to pull away from 2 defenders. And that, with exactly 5 minutes to go, gives Calgary back the 6-goal lead. Manning has it. Battle right near his own bench. Nice flip behind the back to get away from danger. And Scott Carnegie now has it. Carnegie swings it across the other side to Schattler. With just 5 to shoot, Calgary really never got organized on this offensive possession, but they're also intent just to kill clock here. Berg's shot goes into the crowd. With 4:28 to go, we've got our final timeout on the floor, 17-11. Calgary en route to what is an apparent win here, although we'll see what happens when we wrap this one up. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com.
So not necessarily his performance just this week, but his performance from this entire season so far is the reason why Craig England is my unsung hero for this week.
Yeah, Craig England continues to get better. And if you look at that Buffalo Bandits team, every player is so excited when he gets a goal and kind of, tapping their sticks. And he really adds a lot of energy to that lineup. And I think he's been an important member of that club. Like you said, not had the greatest start, but really ignites this team and adds some energy into that lineup.
And what an amazing story it is, because he's bounced from a couple of different teams, but it seems like he's really found his rhythm and his place on this Bandits roster. So I'm just excited to see how the rest of the season turns out.
(17-11), Calgary leading the Georgia Swarm here tonight at Scotiabank Saddledome. And they're not crying uncle yet, though, as they pull Poulin here to go 6-on-5 here. And we'll see if they can make some magic happen. Thompson has it. Thompson can't find Powless. Battle near the line for it. Manning over there to get in the way of all that. And now Mike Carnegie tries to interrupt things from Hall. Hall recovers, though, and sends it back down the floor to Lyle Thompson. Poulin back into the net now. Thompson gets away from one defender, gets away from another, takes the shot, misses up high. And that'll be Calgary possession. Now under 4 minutes to go. Here's Dan McRae. McRae will pass off to Curtis Dixon. And now Dixon will give it to Lowen. Calgary, I'm sure here, will try and kill a full 30 if possible. Dixon now passes off. Here's Lowen again, tries to put it up high. Off the end wall, Dixon comes over to try and get it. Has it behind the net, 5 to shoot, comes out the other side. He's down there all by himself, spins, fires, and Poulin makes the save.
As you mentioned, using up the full 30 seconds, the referee getting involved a little bit there as it hit him in the back, died on the carpet.
Now again, Poulin to the bench, so 6-on-5 for the Swarm again. Jerome Thompson whiffs on it, and here's an opportunity for Garrett McIntosh on the empty net. Loses it though, as coming back was Lyle Thompson to back check hard there and turn the ball back over. And another drop ball, that time again by Jerome Thompson. Georgia has it back. Side of the net doesn't work. Now a battle for the ball. Some chopping there. And now a big hit thrown, and we're going to get a whistle. And I think it will be Calgary possession.
Yeah, Chad Cummings went down hard on a push from the behind. Just a loose ball push, though, no penalty.
Dan McRae spins himself over center. And now passes off to Tyler Digby. Digby has Dixon. Now here's an opportunity for Doby to get his 7th save made by Poulin. Now Dixon gets it again. That behind the back pass to Digby doesn't work. And here come the Swarm now. Sellers all the way. Sellers tried to take the shot. Dixon stayed with him though and interrupted that. And as a result, Calgary gets it back now with 2:10 to go here. Burton just guarding the ball. Now will pass off to Dane Doby over to Shatler. Shatler now try to go back to Berg breaking towards the net. That doesn't work. And the Swarm get it back. But now only have 1:50 to work with here, and they're down by 6. And I think we're going to get a timeout to the Swarm, which gives us a chance, Ryan, to look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Well, earlier tonight, it was Buffalo and Rochester. Rochester losers last night against Buffalo get the win tonight as they take a 9-8 overtime goal, a 9-8 win in overtime. It's near the end of the first quarter out there in Vancouver as the Stealth host the Saskatchewan Rush, and they're being generous hosts so far as they have spotted the Rush a 4-2 lead, in this one as that one approaches the end of the first quarter. Saskatchewan doubling up the Stealth 4-2 so far, and right here in Calgary, 17-11 the score in favor of the Calgary Roughnecks on a 10-point night so far from number 44, Dane Doby. Some franchise records getting almost threatened here as Dane Doby with 6 goals is just 2 shy of the man they'll be honoring at the next home game, Tracy Koluski, entering the franchise record books. He's got a 8-goal performance twice in his career, and Dane Doby getting within the striking distance of that here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're curious, most points scored in a game, Sean Evans owns that mark at 13.
And he did that one twice as well.
I don't think we're going to see a record fall here tonight in Calgary as we're now down under 90 seconds. Dan McRae will just roll it into the corner as Calgary is content just to kill clock here. Well, eventually it does come to Shatler. Shatler has Doby. Doby's in there, scores! Well, there's number 7, so hold the phone. Now just 1 from that goal record, or at least tying the record.
Yeah, Dane Doby left all alone with room in front. Some nice work along the boards to get the ball to Jeff Shatler, and Shatler just flips it to Doby, who was all alone, and he puts it behind Mike Poulin, and that ought to close this one out. Now a 7-goal lead with just 1:10 to play, and the Roughnecks, after being really taken to the woodshed last night in Colorado, are doing the same to the team that came in to tonight as the league's best. And the Roughnecks showing that they can hang with anybody on any given night.
Now under a minute to go here. Fans here to their feet. They've seen a good one here, and the best performance we've seen out of the Calgary Roughnecks on home floor for, I would say, a couple of years. And it comes at the expense of the best record in the league. Cummings absorbs a hit there. He's been really good tonight. Gets lost a bit in an 18-goal performance for the offense, but Chad Cummings has played a gritty, tough game tonight, has been all over the floor. I would say maybe a candidate for grinder of the week on Inside Lacrosse, if anyone's listening from that fine site. That would be my nominee. Rolled into the corner there, and now this should be the final possession here as we're down to 10 seconds. The Swarm got down early, never really got close, made a couple nice runs, but they will fall to 7-2, and the Calgary Roughnecks win it 18-11 to break the 5-game losing streak.
What a performance here from the Calgary Roughnecks as they dominated right from the opening face-off, and but for a 5-minute stretch to open the third quarter, had the Swarm's number the whole way. What a game, 18-11 your final, and Dane Doby 11 points for number 44 as he put on an absolute show going 7-4.
Yeah, let's give you some of those offensive totals for both teams. For the Georgia Swarm, it was Lyle Thompson leading the way with 5 points, 2 and 3 for him. 2 goals for Shane Jackson, 1 and 1 for John Rannigan, and a hat trick for Kyle Matisse, who was good at times in this game. 4 points for him, 1 and 1 for Johnny Powless. Miles Thompson with a 3-assist evening along with Jordan Hall. The Calgary Roughnecks, all sorts of gaudy totals. The big number stands out as obviously Dane Doby, 7 and 4, 11 points for him. You can add in 6 points for Wes Berg, 2 and 4, 6 points for Jeff Shatler, 1 and 5.